You weren't naive. You were perceptive. You didn't offer empathy because you were weak. You offered it because you could feel people. You noticed shifts others missed, the tension behind words, the pain beneath behavior. So when someone hurt you, you searched for reasons. When they crossed a line, you explained it away. When they manipulated, you tried to understand them better. You told yourself this was maturity, depth, emotional intelligence. But slowly, something began to rot inside the silence you kept. Because every time you chose empathy over boundaries, the same thing happened. They didn't soften. They didn't grow. They adapted. This is the dark truth no one prepares you for. Empathy does not disarm manipulative minds. It feeds them. And the most dangerous weakness you can show such people is not fear. It's compassion without limits. To understand why empathy becomes dangerous, you must understand who it's given to. Manipulative personalities are not driven by connection. They are driven by control, regulation, and advantage. Often, highly empathetic people come from backgrounds of emotional neglect or unpredictability. You learned early that emotional attunement kept environments stable, so you sharpened that skill. This leads to hypervigilance, the ability to read others before reading yourself. You track moods, motives, emotional shifts. You anticipate. Another layer is parentification. You became the emotional caretaker, mediator, or stabilizer long before it was your role. Empathy wasn't optional. It was survival. Over time, this pairs with avoidant or anxious avoidant attachment. You crave closeness, but you manage it by giving rather than receiving. Neurologically, your default mode network organizes around others' inner worlds instead of your own. Your identity becomes relational. Who do they need me to be to stay safe? Manipulative minds sense this immediately. To them, empathy is not intimacy, it's information, and information is power. The cost of showing empathy to manipulative minds is not immediate destruction. It is erosion. You lose yourself one justification at a time. One, I understand why they did that. One, they're just wounded. One, if I leave, I'm abandoning them. Carl Jung warned that empathy without consciousness becomes possession. You're no longer choosing compassion. You're being consumed by it. Seneca wrote that mercy without wisdom becomes self-betrayal. You confuse moral superiority with self-sacrifice. Rilke spoke of loving without losing oneself, but no one taught you how. Your core fear is not cruelty. It is being heartless. So you stay, you explain, you absorb. Your authenticity bends, your boundaries dissolve, your nervous system stays on alert. This is invisible grief. The grief of watching yourself disappear while calling it love. Empathetic children become adults who are highly susceptible to manipulation. You might notice it in relationships. You attract partners who externalize blame, resist accountability, and thrive on emotional access without reciprocity. At work, you may tolerate exploitation, emotional labor, or unspoken expectations because you get where they're coming from. Your self-worth becomes conditional on being understanding. Your boundaries feel cruel to enforce, so you delay them until resentment explodes. Emotionally, you regulate through rationalization rather than protection. Your identity becomes fragmented, who you are versus who you perform to maintain harmony. These are not moral failures, they are survival adaptations. Unlearning begins with a brutal truth. Empathy is not neutral. In the wrong hands, it becomes a weapon turned against you. You're not obligated to offer emotional access to people who exploit it. Awareness changes the pattern. Healing does not mean becoming cold, it means becoming discerning. Inner child work helps you reconnect with the moment you learned that empathy kept you safe. Shadow work helps you reclaim anger, limits, and self-protection without guilt. Nervous system regulation teaches your body that saying no does not equal danger, and that withdrawal can be healthy. And slowly, you practice a new truth. Empathy without boundaries is self-erasure. Boundaries without empathy is cruelty. Healing lives between them. Here is the quote that reclaims your power. Compassion is not meant to be limitless. It is meant to be wise. You don't need to harden your heart. You need to protect it. The goal is not to be fixed, but to become whole. If this revealed a pattern you've lived, share it with someone who gives too much to the wrong people. And if you want to keep exploring the psychology beneath power, manipulation, and self-protection, stay here. Subscribe. Some minds don't want understanding. They want access. And your empathy is sacred.